Welcome to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast, your guide to future tech trends and innovation in a language you understand. Now, over to your host, Neil Hughes.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to another episode of the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Now, you are all incredibly lucky that this is an audio-only podcast because I seem to have picked up a nasty ear infection, and around every 90 seconds it feels like someone's just stuck a knitting needle in my ear. Not that I've tried that, of course, but every 90 seconds or so I grimace and pull a whole range of silly faces. But enough of me feeling sorry for myself. The show must go on. And this old school podcast host has a daily podcast to run. And today's guest is located in Hollywood, Florida. And confession time, I had no idea there was another Hollywood that is in Florida and that it's even bigger than the one in California. So I've learnt something new there. Maybe one day that fact will give me some much needed extra points on HQ, the quiz app. Speaking of which, does anybody out there play that game? For anybody that's not heard of it, in a nutshell, HQ is a free download app that pretty much broadcasts a quiz twice a day. Think Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You'll open up the app twice a day, gives you 12 questions. Everyone that gets those 12 questions right gets a share of the kitty. But I can't get past question 7. So if you're on the platform and you feel like giving me a hand, my username is Neil C. Hughes. But again, I've digressed. On today's show, I want to get Cloudinary back on, because you may remember them from way back on episode 322, and they were actually founded back in 2011 by a group of high-tech veterans. Makes them sound like something from the A-Team, doesn't it? But they worked on a huge variety of web projects during the past 2 decades, and they got tired of implementing the same image management solutions over and over again, and Cloudinary was born. But fast forward a few years and they've now reached a 100 strategic partner mark and working with some of the biggest names in the world. And they've also expanded and opened their first European office in London. So in a year where experience or experiences are the big themes, I want to find out more about why Cloudinary are promoting imagery to drive experiences, and also how optimal performances not only supports but ultimately drive the overall success of any business. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Hollywood, Florida, to speak with Doran Sherman from Cloudinary. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Excellent. Glad to be here. My name is Doran Sherman. I'm a VP of Evangelism at Cloudinary, probably best described as a Silicon Valley veteran of many years. I started my R&D career originally is in image processing and computer vision. I've done that close to a decade, and then switched on to being involved in building software startups since the very early days of the web in the early 90s. Cloudinary, what I do is I manage a global team of developer advocates. Cloudinary is a developer-centric organization. We focus, especially my team, but also other groups in the company, on building strong ties with the developer community, and we mostly operate in the format of developer advocacy. What we do is we strive for ensuring that we can deliver developer success whenever they use Cloudinary technology. We operate by creating engaging content and events such as meetups, hackathons, workshops. We're very passionate about developer experience. And also we inject a lot of fun into what we do, such as running contests and, of course, giving prizes to developers when they use our technology. We follow development trends. We follow what's going on in the software industry, and then we immerse ourselves in those developer ecosystems.
And for anyone listening that thinks Cloudinary, that sounds quite a familiar name. I think it was last year on episode 322, I spoke with the co-founder and CEO of Cloudinary about how the company simplifies web design complexities with that end-to-end image and video management. But for anyone tuning in and hearing about you guys for the very first time, can you just offer an overview of the kind of problems that you solve for your customers, and also what makes you different and unique from all the other solutions out there?
Absolutely. So it may come as no surprise that visual communication and rich media are experiencing tremendous growth lately, and actually in acceleration path of that. There's a big impetus to integrate images and video into web and mobile apps, and then trend keeps growing. Last year, for example, Cisco predicted that video will grow to be 84% of all internet traffic just in the US. So that comprises a big part of visual communication in general. And the reality is that managing images and video is generally an obscure and hard to find skill set among developers. And media handling and delivery is typically the realm of specialized walled garden platforms such as an Instagram or YouTube, or you find those in expensive custom-built tools in areas such as TV broadcasting. So let's say you're a shoe company involved in e-commerce, or you're a media publishing company, or maybe you're an ad tech company. And you need to manage millions of media assets. So you need to generate multiple versions of each media asset to run your business and online presence. And you have to deal with optimal delivery on a variety of different devices. You have to apply dynamic transformations, smart algorithms. You have to manage caching on a global basis to make sure that the users are experiencing minimal latency, because, as we know, users don't like to wait for pages that load slowly. And I'll talk more about this perhaps later. So all of that is a very complex task that, if it's messed up, it impacts the business bottom line directly. You ask about how Cloudinary is unique. So we have the ability to offer developers an end-to-end automated media delivery pipeline using a very simple API that hides the complexities via smart algorithms. And those smart algorithms include things like automatic format of images, videos, automatic quality settings, automatic cropping. We pretty much try to automate everything, and that's how we deliver that simple API solution. That's actually a whole lot behind the scenes. We also offer a generous free tier with full functionality, so developers can basically build a proof of concept or an MVP just using our free tier. So they get to experience the full scope and functionality of the product pretty much with no obligation right off the bat. And the pricing model is based on usage, essentially a pay-as-you-go, or as people like to say, pay-as-you-grow. So we basically serve startups all the way to enterprises.
Fantastic. And you guys have been incredibly busy since we last spoke. And I believe you have some pretty big name customers now, including Cars.com, which we spoke to recently on this podcast. And you also recently hit the 100 strategic partner mark. I mean, can you expand on that milestone and what it means for Cloudinary?
Sure. Perhaps we can start from some of the stats, and the stats keep growing. I guess that's the positive. Yeah. Where right now, I think the last count, we have about 330,000 registered users that use a Cloudinary platform, and about 5,000 paying customers and 100 strategic partners. I should mention that we are a profitable company, profitable SaaS company, which is very unique, and we have been profitable from day one. Also, another interesting statistic is that over 60% of our business is outside the United States, which is also unusual for a company our size. We have a solution that makes life for web and mobile developers that much better and easier. And I think that's the main reason that we're seeing the types of customers getting on Cloudinary that we do. We attract customers that understand that the effective use of rich media is a critical element of the competitive advantage. And those customers keep discovering us because they're very keen on being able to integrate rich media into their operations and leverage that effectively. And those customers are choosing a flexible and complete solution that's proven to deliver optimal media experience anywhere, which means both globally as well as on any device, and that's why they team up with us.
So do you have any customer references or use cases just to help anybody listening visualize and understand their perspectives and the kind of challenges and opportunities that business leaders all around the world are facing right now?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, maybe just one reference link for people who want to kind of see the entire set of customer case studies that we are publishing and keep on publishing. So if you go to the Cloudinary website, to our blog, and then you click on the button that says case study, you can basically see all those case studies in there. I can mention a few examples over a number of different industries that tend to adopt Cloudinary solution. A company like Bleacher Report, for example, which delivers real-time sports highlights. What we've done for them is we delivered the solution within weeks, and they were astonished to find out that using our solution once implemented, they were able to deliver the sports video highlights within minutes. And the users pretty much universally report back that they experience smooth playback on any device that they're using across every network, whether it's fast or slow. The automated solution that Cloudinary provides knows how to be adaptive that way. Another example from a different industry, which would be media publishing, would be a company like Fairfax Media, which is a large Australian, New Zealand-based media company. What we have done for them is streamline the publishing workflow. They have to handle millions of images. We optimize those images for different devices and formats. This results in considerable time savings for both engineering that was tasked with implementing the solution as well as the publishing staff. And at this point, after about 8 months of implementation, solution was rolled out to 90% of the Fairfax Media network. Maybe just another example, just again to show the breadth of industries that we operate in and we provide solutions for, is a company like Hinge, which is a social relationship app. The interesting thing about the use case, the key is user-generated content where millions of users are uploading images and videos from pretty much any type of device that they're using. Hinge by itself doesn't have control over which devices those images and videos are uploaded from. So you have tasks such as proper resizing and cropping the images on the fly, optimizing the image and video format and quality. Again, which I mentioned earlier, we do that automatically for them to improve the user experience.
So with Adobe and IBM both declaring this year that experiences are now more important than products and services themselves, are there any big trends in web performance that you're noticing at the moment? And do you think that imagery drives user experience?
I believe so. Maybe one point of view here is that if conferences and publications are any indicator, the topic of web performance has been gaining popularity for a reason in the past 10 years, and again is still accelerating. The key statistic that I can quote here is that images take over 60% of web page bytes, and video even higher percentage. So if you see, for example, according to Soasta, which published online retail performance in April of last year, they came up with a statistic that for every 1 second delay in mobile page load, conversions can fall by up to 20%, which is a staggering statistic. So from that, what you get is business performance hinges directly on optimal user experience, and media is a big part of it. And what Cloudinary does, we provide functionality mostly automated across the entire media pipeline, which is aimed at optimizing the end user experience. And what the pipeline does, it handles media end-to-end, all the way from how the assets are stored, organized, compressed, processed, and ultimately routed, typically through a CDN, to the final destination for that optimal user experience.
Wow, that's a staggering stat you revealed there. So assuming that, do you think that optimal performance not only supports, but actually drives the overall success of any business now?
Yes, absolutely. And there's another category here of digital asset management, and the organizations involved in that publish those digital trends that are influencing and reshaping the online and mobile experiences. And if you look at those shifts as documented and reported on, they create major challenges for brand and content managers today. So specifically for media, number one, images increase content view rates by 94%, and posts with images boost engagement by 180%. And if you look at e-commerce, buyers are 85% more likely to buy a product after they watch a video about it. So that directly puts business critical media content in the center, and brands that efficiently know how to leverage those media assets are at a very big competitive advantage.
And I believe you recently opened your first European office over here in London in the UK. Can you tell me more about the story behind that, and how's that going to help you scale as a business? I mean, you did say there that 60% of your business is outside of the US. Presumably this is a big part of that.
Yes, indeed. First of all, we're very excited about opening the first European office in London, and that's just the first. And we expect rapid expansion there. There's a press release we just issued this week that gives more detail about that. But indeed, 60% of our revenue is outside the US. Europe is a big part of that. We have over 1,000 customers in Europe alone, and also big partner growth in Europe as well. And from my side on evangelism and developer advocacy, we also witness significant traction with developer communities throughout the EU, and over 50,000 registered users in Europe alone. We focus on building relationships and ecosystems with partners, and it just naturally goes faster with local presence, where we can serve those customers and partners better. And my team specifically has just added another developer advocate recently to address the growing activities in Europe.
Now, I think we should also mention that Cloudinary was recently voted the best place to work in the Bay Area by Silicon Valley Business Journal. So it kind of feels like everything is falling into place for you at the moment. So, but what's next on the horizon for Cloudinary? Is there anything else that you can share with us today?
I can mention a few things. First of all, one of the first things that attracted me personally to join Cloudinary was its great culture, where Cloudinary evidently shows how it focuses on employee well-being and flexibility in accommodating personal needs. It's the first thing that strikes me as very compelling about the company. And since I joined, which is just less than 2 years ago, company more than tripled in size. And that growth is being managed very well internally. Next for us, as far as visual communication keeps penetrating everywhere, I'd mentioned that we're focusing on expanding customer and developer success offerings. We're growing key verticals, which for us are media, e-commerce, and retail. We gain ground in new untapped market segments, and I can probably mention a couple afterwards if we have the time.
Yeah, sure.
Product launches. This month we are launching our digital asset management, aka DAM solution. We have the industry-first end-to-end DAM solution to bridge the gaps across today's marketing and media reach ecosystems. We are enhancing the foundation, which is our developer-centric platform, adding capabilities to make it more accessible to both marketing users and creative professionals. So the platform keep expanding to include more and more users. And as far as the future of media is concerned, we kind of see that mixed media in all forms is being adopted everywhere. I can give an example to our key verticals. For example, we are partnering with Capitol Music Group, that would be in Hollywood, California, as an example of this. That's example where an old guard that is tapping and leveraging tech for reinventing the music industry. And then through that, they're looking to create new revenue streams via new customer experiences.
Well, for any CEOs that are listening and that you've provided a bit of a light bulb moment in their mind now, can you just remind them of where they can find you online and also contact your team if they have any questions about our conversation today?
Absolutely. So the two natural places to easily find us, one would be our website at cloudinary.com, and the other popular social media outlet would be at Cloudinary on Twitter. And we are evangelism@cloudinary.com.
Fantastic. Well, this year I've been to several events on both this side and the other side of the Atlantic, and the big theme across all of them is how important experiences are now. And many are saying experiences are more important than the product or service themselves. And the fact that you're saying there that imagery drives that user experience, which makes perfect sense, and optimal performance not only supports but drives the overall success of any business, is really, really powerful words, and I can see why you're growing so fast. So I wish you all the best for the future. Let's stay in touch, and I'd love to have you back on in another 6 months following you on this journey.
Thank you. Very much enjoyed the conversation.
I really enjoyed speaking with companies like Cloudinary who are delivering fantastic experiences, but without any of us really realising it. I mean, every website, every app that we visit uses imagery to drive those experiences. And I really think we need to hammer home that point as well, that the optimal performance of every website, of every mobile app, which creates every experience, not only supports, but it drives the overall success of every business. Lots of food for thought in today's episode, and I'd love to hear what you think. So as always, email me at techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes. Send me your thoughts, insights and expertise around today's episode, but also if you have any tips of getting rid of an ear infection. I've just had a quick search on Google that says put garlic in my ear. Now, I know my ears are big, but I don't think they're that big. So please send those tips over. And that's it for today's show. So a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thanks for listening to the Tech Blog Writer Podcast. Until next time, remember, technology is best when it brings people together.